So what really makes a nation? Is it just a line on a map, a common language, or is it something more, something forged in fire? Today, we're going to dive into the evolution of France and see how centuries of conflict, revolution, and incredible ambition created the nation we know today.
And that really is the central question here, isn't it? What forges a nation? Is it just culture, or is it something that has to be won through generation after generation of struggle? Well, France's story, it might just hold the answer.
Okay, so here's our roadmap. Our journey is going to start in the ashes of the Roman Empire, in a place called Gaul. Then, we'll watch as this brand new kingdom has to fight for its very survival against a rival empire. From there, it turns inward in a revolution that completely redefines its own soul, before finally, it just explodes onto the world stage.
So let's get right into it. Where does the story of France even begin? Well, it wasn't born overnight, that's for sure. It had to be carved piece by painful piece out of the ruins of the Roman Empire in a land that back then people just called Gaul.
You know, the very first challenge was fundamental. It was a raw, gritty struggle for both land and for identity. To become a people, they first had to figure out where their land even ended and who they were, separate from all the other powerful tribes and empires that were all around them.
All right, so just as this fragile little kingdom is starting to form, bam, a massive external threat appears on the scene. This was the Anjou conflict, a period that really threatened to tear the young nation apart before it even had a chance to get going.
Okay, so here's the heart of the problem. You've got the French crown saying this land is ours. This is France. But then you have the super powerful English-based Anjou Empire, which actually controlled huge chunks of that very same land. I mean, can you imagine trying to rule a country where your biggest rival is also your largest landowner? It was a totally impossible situation, and you just knew it had to be solved with force.
So after centuries of fighting enemies on the outside to figure out its borders, France's next great battle was going to come from within. This was a battle for its very soul. This wasn't about land anymore. This was about the idea of the nation itself. This was the people's revolution.
Now, to understand just how big of a deal this explosion was, we have to look at what it was replacing. And that was the old order, an absolute monarchy. One king, his word was law. Simple as that. All power, all authority rested in one person.
And you know what's wild? The whole old system just unraveled with shocking speed. It all started with royal debt, which led to widespread unrest among a population that was literally starving. And the tipping point? The storming of the Bastille, this hated symbol of the king's power. And from those flames, something totally new was born. The French Republic.
And this new republic, it was founded on three words that would echo all around the world. Liberté, égalité, fraternité. Liberty, equality, fraternity. Now, this wasn't just some catchy political slogan. This was a complete philosophical shift. It was replacing the divine right of kings with the rights of man. So this is the key takeaway right here. The revolution completely flipped the script on what sovereignty even meant. Before, the right to rule, sovereignty, it belonged to the king. After the revolution, it belonged to the nation, to the people themselves. That was a monumental, world-changing idea.
All right, so now France is just buzzing with this revolutionary energy, this brand new sense of identity. And it didn't just look inward. Oh no. It turned its gaze outward, and it was ready to project its power and its ideals onto the global stage.
And one of the key arenas for this new ambition, the Americas. I mean, this was the new world, full of resources, strategically important, a huge prize. France wanted a piece of the action, trying to carve out territory and challenge the other big European powers head-on.
But French ambition wasn't just limited to the Atlantic. It reached all the way to the other side of the planet. We're talking expeditions exploring and challenging British interests in Australia. That just shows you the truly global scale of France's vision for itself.
But here's the thing. France wasn't playing on an empty field. This was the age of empires, and every single move France made was a direct challenge to its rivals. Its ambitions clashed right up against the sprawling power of the British Empire, and it contested Spanish claims that were centuries old.
So as we bring this all together, we start to see this really clear pattern, don't we? France's identity has never been a static thing. It's a nation that's been forged and then reforged over and over by conflict, both from the outside and from within.
I mean, we've literally watched it transform from a fractured kingdom fighting for its land to a radical republic fighting for a powerful new idea, and then into a global empire fighting for influence all across the world. Each stage was a direct response to a massive struggle.
And that kind of leaves us with one final big question. If a nation is truly defined by the struggles that shape it, what comes next for France? What are the modern challenges that are forging the France of tomorrow?